Konnichiwa, I'm your host Mayu for 2am OTTACK. In this podcast, we talk all about anime, manga, movies, music, and history through our distinct perspectives as a born and raised Japanese non-otaku, me, and an American anime fan.
That's me. I'm Cisco. I've been an anime fan since I was 11, and I'm also fluent in Japanese. Surprise.
Yes, he's really fluent. Okay, let's get started. This is our second episode for 2am OTTACK. Today, we would like to talk about what we talked about in another podcast with our manga artist friend. We talked about how she doesn't like to be categorized as a manga artist. Is this the right English?
I guess so. I mean, I don't think it's so much that she doesn't like to be categorized, but that she feels uncomfortable being called a manga artist.
Thank you. Yes, that's exactly right.
I think her perspective was that because she doesn't earn enough money from drawing manga to sustain herself with that as her main job, she doesn't deserve to be called a manga artist. And so we talked a little bit about how that's pretty, well, I mean, I guess nobody really calls themselves a manga artist in America unless like they draw specifically manga and not just comics, which is maybe more common as like a job in America. But that like, if you're self-publishing like a webtoon, you're probably like, I'm a manga artist, like regardless of how successful you are. And that like in America, people will often sort of identify their job as whatever their dream job is, if they're like working on it at all, with kind of no regard to like how much money they're currently making doing it. And so we were sort of sharing the perspective that in America, like she's been published in actual manga, like, you know, compilations and stuff, that in America we would definitely call her a manga artist. Like it might not be her, you know, it might be her side hustle right now as opposed to like her main gig, but the fact that she's like had her name in print with several different pieces would suggest in the US that like she's a bona fide manga artist, not just like someone who's drawing manga on the side but has yet to sell it, you know?
Right. But yeah, I understand what she was saying because in Japan, if you don't get paid with the job, you can't call yourself with the job title. So she feels like she's not there yet.
She's been paid, right? She's not making so much money that she doesn't have another job, but she has gotten paid for her work, right?
Yes. Yeah, like she's very humble. I mean, Japanese people are very humble about themselves. And when I was trying to make a profile for her on the podcast, I first wrote, her name is Sugimoto. Sugimoto is a shoujo manga artist. And immediately she was like, no, please change the profile. It's more like, well, she writes like a local magazine and what did she say? Like besides, she works on her manga or something.
Right.
But I was like, that's true, but like it's, you know, she can say that she's a manga artist, but it's different. It's very different in Japan, and she feels a little bit like embarrassed of calling herself a manga artist.
I think the embarrassment is from the idea that someone in Japan that she knows will find out that she dared to call herself a manga artist on this podcast and will be like, you're not a real manga artist. Like how, like, you know, like, how could you think that? How do you think it's okay to say that? Or like shame her for like not being successful enough or something. But yeah, so I think I don't know that she's embarrassed about like, she's not embarrassed of being a manga artist. I think she's embarrassed of like feeling like she's overreaching by claiming something that's, you know, that other people will judge her for if they find out about it.
Yeah, I remember when she told her family that she wants to be a manga artist. I don't know, after she got much older, the family's reaction was like, You can't be a manga artist.
Terrible.
Like, are you joking? Like that kind of attitude she got.
Why were they so mean about it?
I don't know. I think, Sugimoto and I are from the same hometown, from home prefecture, and it's like countryside. And it sounds like some kind of dream job she was talking about. And then like family was like, I think for family, it's not realistic for her to achieve the goal without even like reading her manga or anything.
Right.
Yeah, so I think if I said something similar to my parents, like I think I would get the same kind of reaction.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really big cultural difference between the US and Japan. Like, I feel like in the US, little kids will be like, I want to be an NBA player when I grow up. And the parents are like, that's great. Like, practice really hard, instead of being like, well, statistically, like, you're probably not going to make it. So, like, get a real job. And in Japan, like, your dreams are crushed very early to be like, no, that's not realistic. Like, don't do it.
Yeah, that's what happened to me when I was like elementary school student. I was so into drawing or painting, and I loved doing it. And I thought maybe I can be a painter in the future. So I told that to my dad, and my dad was, well, okay, if you like, drawing so much, you should write or you should draw or paint a picture per day. So I was like, okay, I can do that. And I started doing it. And it was not fun for me anymore. It felt like a work, and I didn't like doing it. I didn't want to draw or paint every single day. And then like one day I stopped and I was like, I can't be a painter because I can't paint every single day. And I just gave up because I didn't think I could achieve the goal.
I mean, that seems pretty extreme as like a method of trying to convince somebody they must do that every day to be a painter. I gotta say. But I mean, like, it was probably good practice. But yeah, it also seems like maybe it made you hate it at like an age when, had you been allowed to like pursue your own creativity a little more, that would have been nice,
Yeah, I'm talking about like when I was like 6, 7, 8, around that age.
Yeah, that seems pretty rough.
I mean, like, I probably that was the way my dad tried to like convince me not being a painter in the future. I guess it worked, but I wish my dad was more encouraging, like, oh, you did a great job, or like keep doing whatever you like to do. But I was just a kid.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that even in America, there are probably a lot of parents who want to dissuade their children from trying to be artists when they grow up, because the perception is that artists don't make any money. But I feel like as long as it's like a profession where people make money, American parents are a little bit more encouraging, even if it's kind of a long shot type of dream. Right. You know what I mean?
So yeah, I can't imagine like what Sugimoto went through, and then she finally become a manga artist, and we really like cheered her up, like, we really think you're a manga artist,
right?
And she sounded happy. Yeah,
I mean, I think especially given that she started taking manga really seriously in her early 30s, it's great that she's finally pursuing this kind of lifelong dream. And taking it seriously. And there's lots of examples in literature of people who don't start writing until they're, pretty well on in their careers or lives. They'll be in their 40s and 50s and put out a book for the first time and produce like, awesome work. So I'm looking forward to the things that she writes next.
Yeah, I'm excited too, because like I really enjoyed her works in the past, and I don't know, I'm gonna be a supporter for her forever.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. I also wanted to bring about the very popular anime song right now, which is Bling-Bang-Bang-Born by Creepy Nuts. It's I think I don't know. It's a opening.
It's the second opening for the Mashle anime.
Right. We tried to watch Mashle like a year ago, like a while ago. And we did, and we didn't really think it was interesting at first.
Yeah, I think for me, some of the problem was that I read the manga from the time it started appearing in Shonen Jump, so I read it from beginning to end before the anime even started like showing up on, I guess it's on Japanese Netflix. So I already know the entire story. And I think like there's nothing wrong with the anime. The anime is just fine, but it's hard for me to be like captivated about like, oh, like what's gonna happen next, because like I just know. It's fine, but it wasn't so great that I was like, oh, like what an incredible adaptation. Like I must watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, like after the song became so famous and so popular, our son, who's almost 13, wanted to watch it on watch the anime and wanted to read. So I started watching first few episodes, and it was really funny. It was pretty funny, especially if you have read or knew about Harry Potter.
Yeah,
because it looks like a not rip off, but like based on.
Yeah, it has a similar kind of world to Harry Potter. Well, no, I actually don't. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think like it's a world where everybody, there's ways in which it has some similarities to like a lot of different pop culture touchstones. Like I think like it's kind of like My Hero Academia in that the main character is like the only person who can't, do the amazing things that everybody else can do. And it's sort of like I think some of the character design is based on Harry Potter. Like the headmaster of the school is definitely based on Dumbledore. And the wands and the cloaks that they wear also seem like influenced by Harry Potter. And they're at like a magic academy and stuff. But beyond that, I don't know that it's like specifically Harry Potter, given that like every character has like their own special magic. Like, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a send up of like other anime about magic and wizards.
Yeah. I enjoyed watching it. It was really funny, especially I don't know, for some reason he really likes eating shukurim. How do you pronounce shukurim? I
know it has like a French name that's not exactly the same thing, but I think in America nowadays we know it as shukurim and as like the Japanese version of the French thing, not the French thing that it's originally.
What is cream puff?
Yeah, it's a cream puff. That's like, I think that's the correct English translation of like what this is. But cream puffs, this is just like my bias and my take, but I don't think cream puffs are very popular in America. So like even telling people like, oh, it's like a cream puff, people will be like, yeah, but I've never eaten that either. So like calling it like, shoe cream is like, yeah, okay, like I don't know what that is either. Or calling it like a shoe cream from Japan, you're like, yeah, I also have never eaten that. So now that like Beard Papa is around in America, like I think probably people have had a shoe cream, but like I think it kind of tells you what you need to know, that the most famous like maker of cream puffs in America is a Japanese brand. So there's not like a well-known American brand maker of cream puffs that like makes there's no like version of that that's like donuts, you know what I mean? Like it's a sweet we don't eat that often.
Interesting. Yeah, now we have two sons, but like the second son really wants me to make shoe cream because he's never had it before. I don't know, maybe he had it, but he doesn't remember. But I don't think he'll like it.
Yeah, I think they're gonna eat it and be like, it's like not really what I had in mind. I think it's gonna be like too much cream in the middle for them, and they're gonna be like, kind of gross. So yeah. But again, maybe that's just me projecting. That's how I feel about shoe cream. Is like, it's okay, but like I don't like cream-filled donuts either. So
right,
like I would kind of just rather not.
I used to like it when I was a kid, and it's a lot of cream inside and shoe cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want him to, give it a try because he's interested in from anime and manga, so it's
Yeah.
a chance.
Yeah, it seems fair.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to talk about the song, which I don't know, like people love the song. Like it's so catchy
Hmm.
and it's so easy to remember especially the chorus.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely an earworm. I think like the ability to remember like the sound of the song is really easy. I had been hearing it for a while, not really clocking that it was a Japanese song or related to anime. And I really thought the first few times I heard it that it was like a Bad Bunny song. I didn't know it was in Japanese the first time I heard it, and was like, and like remember the chorus, but remembered it wrong. Like for real, thought it was like in Spanish. And so I agree that it's definitely really catchy, but I think actually it's those elements of the song that have made it like kind of go viral and be popular. Is that like it's a real like cross of like different musical styles.
Yeah, we try to sing it in Japanese. I mean, there are a lot of English words in there too.
Yeah.
It's so fast. I'm not a rapper.
No, you're not.
So it's such a fast song. It goes like blink of eye.
Yeah, I am not a rapper either, but as someone who has performed rap songs at karaoke, like it's fast, but it's not like impossibly faster than other rap songs, like regardless of language. Like there are faster Japanese rap songs than this song. But it's got like it definitely mixes English and Japanese a lot. To an extent that like, yeah, well, I don't know, a lot of Japanese like rap music has a mix of English and Japanese in it, but I think this one's kind of notable for mixing in like modern English slang. Like the idea of like cho flex is like really interesting to me, that like, that like flexing, I don't know, maybe flexing is like 10 years old and I'm just behind the times and stuff, but that strikes me, the whole song strikes me as like a little bit more, I don't know, modern than like a lot of other Japanese rap music has like sounded up until this point. And like, and again, I think there's like really an influence from like not American rap, but from like, from like Latin music or like Latin rap music in terms of like like that's, I don't know, that just really conjures Bad Bunny for me. I'm sure he's not the only person doing it, but like, I get like a little bit of like that sense in it too.
I thought, like when we try to sing it together, I find it the first part of the song, the rapping part is easy for me compared to the second part, the rhythm is completely different.
Right.
And for you, that's the other way around.
It's the other way around. I think the first part is hard for me just because wrapping my mouth around some of the like combinations of Japanese is hard, or just like saying the Japanese words in a row is more difficult. The second part has like a rhythm that is not uncommon in American rap songs, and I don't know, for whatever reason I feel like the language in the second verse is like easier for me to just spit out.
Yeah, it's definitely English like rhythm.
Yeah,
I think, yeah. So like the second part, I can't do the second part. I can do the first part easily, but not the second.
Well, we should just tag team it, like we should each like do the part that we're good at. I think that's how we should sing the song. Yeah, I mean, it got a shout out in Me and Roboco, which is like one of my favorite mangas that's like current and being released. Like they did a whole chapter about it, which made me like really, really happy. One, that I'm like hip it and like with it enough with like modern culture to be like, oh, I know this reference, but also because I was like, oh, this is good, this will maybe like extend its staying power like a little bit longer,
Yeah, well, all right, there you have it. We talked about Wait, that's not how you say it? No,
that was a great use of that idiom. Well done.
Okay, so like last episode we did the word of the day, and I want to do the word of the day today again, and I thought maybe you can explain about shoujo manga and the shonen manga, like probably a lot of people here in America too. Yeah. Do you want to explain that?
Sure. I mean, I think this is one where even some non-Japanese speakers may have picked up on these terms because of the way in which like they've been deployed in conversations around anime and manga that, you know, where like these terms are used a lot. But shonen means boy, shoujo means girl, and these two terms describe the audiences of each of these types of manga. So shonen manga is directed towards boys and shoujo manga is directed towards girls. And they often have some differences in terms of like both characters and plot. Like shonen manga tend to focus more on like a team of dudes battling some other guys like forever. And then shoujo manga tend to be like stories about romance, you know, one way or another. And then they have a different aesthetic style too. Shoujo manga has a lot more sort of open space in it often, or like kind of like decorations and like uses of like, you know, of negative space, or like I don't know, flowers or roses as borders, like really intricate kind of like borders around the characters. Whereas shonen manga tends to really just be like the actions of the characters in the manga. And then the background sort of varies by artist in terms of how detailed it is. But yeah, I think those strike me as the most salient differences between the two forms. And some manga is like a crossover and is a little bit of both, or is a shoujo manga but has, you know, kind of looks more visually like one kind or the other. They're definitely not like categories you can't like play with or bend, but those seem to be like the big stereotypical differences.
Yeah, when I was a child, I used to read. No, that's not true. I didn't read. I used to buy shoujo manga because I was not into reading at all, but I loved like flipping the pages and looking at the, you know, pretty pictures, but I didn't like reading. So I got shoujo manga magazine, and it usually comes with furoku. It's like a little like I don't know, gift thing when you buy. So it could be like a letter set, or it could be, I don't know, some like a paper thing you can play with. So that was the main part of the reason why I used to buy shoujo manga. And a lot of, even though I didn't read, like there were like Sailor Moons or like Rayars or something like that. And a lot of like romance. And I preferred reading romance stories rather than fighting ones. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think Ray Earth and Sailor Moon are good examples of like that sort of cross-genre style where like they're published in shoujo manga magazines, but their like plot structure kind of seems more like a shonen manga.
Yeah, but I also read shonen manga too, like Jump. Yeah, I'm not into fighting stories, so I didn't read any fighting ones, but I read like short stories or like stories something end with that chapter, because I didn't have to be anticipated to wait for another one.
Yeah.
But like when I was reading Shonen Jump back, you know, how many, I don't know, like decades ago, it was very boy-like manga, so like a boy-focused, boy-centered manga. But it sounds like it's not the case these days.
In Shonen Jump specifically? Yeah. I'm trying to like think of all the things that are big in Shonen Jump.
Didn't you say about figure skating and then like Blue Flag and stuff?
Yeah, those are all available on the American Shonen Jump app, but I don't think they ran in like, you know, the weekly edition of
physical.
Shonen Jump. I mean, Two on Ice, I actually don't know. Two on Ice might be serialized in weekly Shonen Jump, even if it is, the main character is still like a cisgendered heterosexual guy, at least as far as the story's gotten so far. So I would credit that like that one really has sort of like an equal presence of like a strong female lead. I don't think she is the main character, but she's like half of the main character, I guess. And like the other one that's kind of new that has a little bit of the same dynamic, Green Green Greens, which is about golf. And I hate golf. I really am deeply uninterested in golf. But the manga itself is like, okay, you know, I'm like, and it's like that one also has like a strong female character, but she's also not the main character. The main character again is like a dude who's like maybe kind of in love with her. So, you know, it's progress, but the bar is really low. And I'm trying to think of a Shonen Jump manga. You know which one did have a female lead was Magu-chan, God of Destruction. That the main character is a girl, and there are male characters in it, but they, you know, they're the side characters. And I really liked that one. I thought it was like a good comedy manga, and that's sort of notable for having that. And I guess like you could argue about me and Roboco. Is Roboco the main character or is Bondo the main character? Like, I don't know. There's probably a debate to be had there.
Roboco is the main character.
Yeah, see, you know, so that's one way of looking at it, in which case, like, she's a robot, but, like, she presents as female most of the time. I guess Shoujo Null is kind of like that, too. There's sort of like a male main character, but he's, well, I don't know. I think that one's also, like, I think that's serialized in, like, the web version. I don't think it's in the print version. But whatever. I mean, like, I don't know enough about what's in the actual Shonen Jump versus what's only in the American Shonen Jump app to like really say for sure. But yeah, I think most of the big stories still center on like shonen characters, you know. And a lot of their plots are still kind of like generally shonen manga plots, like they're not crossing over that much.
I see. Yep. Okay. So shoujo. So like our friend, our manga artist friend is shoujo manga artist, and then she draws very beautifully. And then I was telling Cisco that, you know, we probably can ask her to draw us in the future with the shoujo manga style.
I'm honestly just scared of what that's going to turn out like, but also flattered that she might do it at all.
Yeah, I don't know if she will do it, but like we can ask, and then we can put it on like social media. Look, this is what we look like.
Oh God, yeah. I feel like if there's ever a comparison, people will be like hugely disappointed.
Yeah, no comparison. No, you can't compare it, but you know, people can fantasize.
I don't know if I want them to fantasize, but we'll just leave it there. You know what I mean? I feel like we're getting into dangerous water here.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining today. Don't forget to subscribe and follow 2 AM OTTACK and 3 AM OTTACK, which is only in Japanese, but like if you know Japanese, that'll be like a good practice to listen to. They are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. It would mean so much to us, and we will keep making fun episodes. See you next time at more 2 AM OTTACK.